Welcome, everyone. Wasn't on yesterday.
Well, I was having a decent Shabbat, and I opened an app, a news story, and thank you, Raw Alerts over on X. Thank you, and I went and researched it, and yeah, the story is true. I almost spit out my water. According to the BBC, African and Caribbean nations call for formal apology for transatlantic slavery. Not only an apology, but these individuals in African and Caribbean countries are demanding reparations from the United States and other European countries that benefited off the transatlantic slave trade. In 2026, they are demanding cash payments through reparations. They're demanding property return. They're demanding, bro, look, let me tell you something. Um, President Trump cut off them payments. We were sending South Africa $400 million a year, basically to squander it all away at the top level and do nothing for the people. That's why you got these crazy ass militant groups going around with their machete, hacking people up. And I'll push you in the head! And killing the white farmers and killing their livestock. And by the way, they don't know how to grow food. Because they've relied on white South African farmers. It's really bizarre. Anyway, and it's just because they're white. So I am really laughing at these white American Democrat racist liberals who have a stick up their ass about white South Africans who are being brought over here under what is truly the criteria for asylum, because they literally have a credible threat of death. Like, it's not even close. So there's no credible death threats in Nicaragua, Guatemala, Mexico, and all these fucking Venezuelans who have been coming here that y'all gave over $2 trillion to over the last 4 years under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Alejandro Mayorkas. They wasn't threatened. Okay. So now you got these African and Caribbean countries demanding reparations. Who are you supposed to get it from? Black Americans, foundational Black Americans who have not gotten reparation payments. Bitch, you're not getting a dime. You're not getting anything. I don't care what you decide at this little conference. You're what the fuck is wrong with you people? You don't demand money from President Trump and from me and from, you think you're going to stand in line in front of black folks who have been here? Y'all monkey ass over there smoking plantains and it's done gone to your head. See? So all these countries signed on to, oh my God, yeah, because they got white guilt and they're dumb. And they've signed on to this, oh yeah, only reparations. Even France, Emmanuel Macron didn't want to give cash payments. But, he thinks of other things like mass migration into Paris. That's destroying his country, by the way. So, no, you bitch, if all these other countries want to sign up, go ahead. Whatever blows your hair back, do you, dog. But we're not giving you any more money. We've been giving you $400 million a year and you've squandered it. Your people are still poor. Them babies still outside in the damn African brush with their belly stuck out and flies around them everywhere. We send you tons of mush and y'all steal the mush and the kids don't even get to eat it and they still starving to death. We building wells. We sending church folk out there to South Africa because these poor little kids ain't got no water and we got to dig wells in the name of Jesus because y'all keep stealing the money and now you want more money? You can go to hell. You're not getting a dime. And President Trump, don't give them nothing else. Keep that payment cut off. I bet y'all wonder when you go to check your account and it's negative. Shit on all of you. Go back to Africa.
Well said. Well said. Sorry I wasn't on yesterday. I was running close on time, so I decided not to do one.
I've seen a lot of people I respect even conservatives saying, no, it wasn't stolen. They're just very liberal. No, but they're missing the point.
She's talking about the elections.
It isn't in the counting room that they're, running in the ballots. It's the entire election system, specifically designed for the left wing to steal elections for Democrats. For example, sending absentee ballots to every registered voter, even voters who have died, voters who have left. They can be turned in by anyone. They can be filled out by anyone. Vote harvesting, ballot harvesting, is specifically allowed. They do not check signatures. 30 days before the election, you can start gathering them, paying homeless people, finding them sitting in front of a barbershop, filling them all out, sending them all in. All that's legal. And then they continue to be counted 1 week after the election. So if, for example, Nithya Raman, who was wiped out by Spencer Pratt, the brilliant Republican Spencer Pratt running for LA mayor, the night of the election, over the next week, slowly she accumulated another 100,000 votes while he got, about 3 or 4 new votes. The reason these complicated, rife for fraud procedures help the Democrats but don't help the Republicans is that Democrats have an entire army of workers paid by the taxpayer to do nothing but vote. Republicans have these things called jobs, so they can't spend weeks and weeks gathering ballots, voting for people, figuring out how to cheat and what you can do and what you can't do. The rules are designed for the left. Most people with jobs, i.e. Republicans, expect to spend about an hour or two to vote. So yes, the election was stolen, but long before the votes came in. The theft of this election from Spencer Pratt should be a warning to all Republicans and a reminder that Democrats do not care about democracy. This is how they run elections, specifically designing them to allow liberals to cheat.
Sadly, they do. Sadly, they do. Every time, actually.
The Online Safety Act was sold with decent intentions, to keep children safe online. That's something most of us could get behind, if it worked. But it doesn't work. Here are 3 reasons the Online Safety Act is broken. 1. It doesn't actually achieve its aims. The Online Safety Act was supposed to result in all adult content being age-gated. But multiple surveys and reports have shown that dozens of sites that were supposed to be age-gated are actually entirely accessible without an ID, meaning any child can access them. So what's the point?
It's all about controlling the message out there.
2. It results in huge amounts of non-adult content being blocked or taken down. The Online Safety Act is primarily aimed at user-to-user services, meaning that any website where users can upload content has to comply with it. This means that hundreds of sites that don't have the money to comply have been shut down because of potential fines. 3. It's easy to get around. If the whole point of this legislation is to make it difficult for kids to access adult content, you would think it would be hard to get around. And it is. Well, it is unless a child manages to get access to a VPN, they get an adult sibling to give them access, they go to sites that just ignore the rules entirely, they use a simple proxy server, they take an adult's credit card for verification, they use a DNS changer or a service like NextDNS. The Online Safety Act is a failure. You hand over your ID, small sites get crushed, kids still get around it. Who exactly is this for?
Yep.
In 2021, Parliament discovered that a scientist in Canada's highest security lab had shipped live Ebola to the Wuhan Institute of Virology and collaborated with the Chinese military on bioweapons research. Kind of a big deal, right? Do we have anything like that? So what happened in Canada? The House ordered the documents 4 times. The Liberal Party blocked it every single time. They sued, they stonewalled, they even called for a snap election to kill the investigation.
Labor Party.
So what is that? That's rule of law being violated and separation of powers being violated. Remember, those are 2 out of the 10 things that you have to have if you're going to be a free nation. 3 years later, the Auditor General exposed the almost $400 million in outright corruption. But again, Parliament, the Liberals, shut it down. Accountability, independent oversight violated. Then Trudeau resigned. And 1/3 of 1% of Canadians, the elite inner circle, handed the prime minister's office to Mark Carney. They tried to do that here when they tried to hand the nomination, and did hand the nomination, to Kamala Harris. While this was happening, the House of Commons stopped sitting for 8 months. So Canada was governed by executive decree. No oversight, no debate, no votes. Where's your representation, separation of powers? Okay, that's not a democracy. That's rule by fiat. They weren't even in session. The elections, are they free and fair? CSIS confirmed China interfered in both 2019 and 2021, funding 11 candidates. Trudeau was briefed on this, and he did nothing. That's free and fair elections out the window. Liberal MP openly told people to collect a Chinese Communist Party bounty on a conservative candidate. No charges. Equal application of the law violated. The next election, 121 mail-in ballots went uncounted. In one, the vote was decided by a single vote.
Wonder how
Elections
that happens.
Canada printed the wrong postal codes on the envelopes. In another, data entry errors, and that delivered a 327 vote swing to the Liberals. Trust in the election? Then 5 MPs flipped into the Liberal Party in 5 months, and convenient that
Then they got
handed
full power.
the elections to the now majority, a 2-seat majority to the Liberals. Democracy by design, or is it democracy by manipulation? Do we see any of this happening here? Because, see, people blame this on the Republicans, but where are the Republicans in Canada? Why is this happening with progressive leadership all over the West? Once in power, they move to control what you see, what you say, and how you live in Canada. They invoked the Emergencies Act against the 2022 Freedom Convoy. They froze the bank accounts of protesters, their supporters all across the country. That's a silencing of free speech and assembly and property rights. 2 federal courts, including the Court of Appeal, ruled unanimous, unreasonable, unlawful, and a violation of charter rights to expression, assembly, and protection from unreasonable search and seizure. No national emergency existed. The government is still appealing to the Supreme Court, but the courts have already spoken. They acted without justification, and then they got away with it. That's judicial authority and rule of law. They passed a bill called C-18, the Online News Act. That forced Google and Meta to pay Canadian outlets for links. Meta blocked all news on Facebook and Instagram for Canadians. Google paid up instead of blocking, but
they also blocked everything about the jab, too.
Precedent was set. Government decides what information flows. Free press, information flow, controlled. That's not part of a free nation. Bill C-11, the Online Streaming Act, does the same thing to Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, forcing them under the thumb of Canada and their DEI quotas and Canadian content mandates. That's speech. That's cultural expression influenced by the state. That's not a free nation. They kept the carbon tax, despite 2/3 of Canadians opposing the increases. 2/3. Is that a democratic republic? They ended the visible consumer tax only to keep the hidden clean fuel regulations and industrial carbon tax quietly raising your fuel cost if you happen to be in Canada. Transparency. There's none there. They tried to mandate 100% EV sales by 2035, then replaced it with emission rules that achieve the same thing except through the back door. That's regulatory overreach. Property rights.
They want to limit your travel so they can control you. You'll have to get permission from Big Daddy government.
Optional. In Ontario, Bill 212...
And you better be a good little commie or else.
...lets the province ram through highway projects, override municipal bylaws, and force property owners out faster. No property rights. In Waterloo, the government secretly used NDAs and expropriation threats to grab 770 acres of prime farmland for a mega site. Maybe AI data center, don't know. Farmers found out only after the fact. Where's your property rights? New Brunswick. A judge reduced a convicted man's sentence specifically so he wouldn't be deported because his skills mattered more than enforcing the law. Where's equal justice? In Toronto, City Council voted to open government-run grocery stores that waive their own taxes to undercut private business. Fair market violation. In rural New Brunswick, they saw forced municipal mergers and tax hikes of 50 and 60% on homeowners. British Columbia moving now from rural property rights into permission-based system, applying to the government for everything from selling eggs to, giving writing lessons, or face a $50,000 a day fine. Economic freedom, gone. Guns, they banned 2,500 assault-style firearms called the buyback voluntary, and then warned that keeping your legally purchased property after the deadline means jail. Is there any property rights? Then there's the darkest chapter, MAID, medical assistance in dying, legalized in 2016 for those with reasonably foreseeable deaths. In 2021, they dropped that safeguard. 2024 alone, 22,535 Canadians requested it. 16,499 received it. 5.1% of all deaths in the country are now medical-assisted suicide. From 2016 to 2024, over 76,000 killed by their own government's health care. It's now the fourth leading cause of death in adults. They have killed more people,
Hey, Tammy.
medically than they have euthanized pets in Canada. Meanwhile, socialized medicine, patients are averaging 28 weeks for treatment, 3 times longer than in 1993. Some doctors are offering MAID for back pain, curable conditions, mental health. When the state controls your health care and offers death as a solution to its own failures, you're no longer a citizen. You're a cost center. And now they want more. The Combating Hate Bill, C9, moving through Parliament up in Canada. New criminal offenses for hate. Codified definition that would criminalize religious belief. Peaceful protest. Dissent. There's no freedom of speech there.
They're starting to arrest Christians there in Canada.
Former Google executive pitched a $500,000 exit tax on educated Canadians. If you dare to leave, they're going to charge you $500,000. So I mean, isn't that a Berlin Wall of sorts? You owe the state for the privilege of being born there. Stay and serve, or pay to escape. Oh my gosh, that's not a democracy. It's not. Democracy is not when Parliament sidelined for 8 months. Democracy is not when foreign interference is ignored and elections are gamed. Democracy is not when, the courts rule the government broke the law and then nothing changes. Democracy is not when the state controls your speech, your property, your health care, your energy, your news, your guns, and then offers you assisted suicide because the wait times for their medicine is too long. Canada has become something else. It's a managed oligarchy with democratic trappings. The forums remain, the elections, the parliament building, the maple leaf flag, but the substance of what Canada has always been is gone. Power is consolidated now. Dissent is managed. The individual exists to serve the state and not the other way around.
Hey, Colin.
Look how far Canada has fallen.
Colin, so what's happening with your elections there? Stammer's still in. Even though he's stepping down, that Burkham guy, is he going to automatically go in? Are you going to have a snap election or not?
Now recognize, America, this is your future. We are already letting unelected bureaucrats and activists and judges rewrite the rules. If we allow and tolerate foreign interference and media capture, if we accept that the government can freeze your bank account for protesting, seize your farm for progress, if we trade liberty for equity, safety, and Canadian content, we're going to wake up in the morning in exactly the same place.
They're actually arresting Christians there. It's ridiculous, if you ask me. I don't know.
Bring you definitive proof of why Labour Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer is not on the side of ordinary working people. You may have heard about this major trade deal that's been struck with India in the last 24 hours. What
you got to hear this.
Is what Starmer and the Labour government tried to keep from the British people. But I'm going to share it with you. So the trade deal has been struck. Could never have happened if it wasn't for Brexit. Not that the Remainer Sir Keir Starmer, who campaigned for a second referendum, would ever admit to that. But the deal we've done with India means Indian companies can second staff here, thousands and thousands. For instance, Tata Steel employs 8,000 people in this country. It's an Indian company.
From what I'm hearing from some people, there'd almost be no Labour Party left.
Can second them to companies in Britain, and they will not pay a single penny in national insurance.
Stalin,
unlike British workers,
keep the corruption
nor
going.
Will the Indian company either have to pay.
And the guy replacing him is just as bad, if not worse.
The national insurance, unlike...
Oh, and he's got some Epstein issues too.
British companies. And remember, in April, this government hiked national insurance for every single
one. Yeah, I didn't have the whole clip there for that. Let me move to a little bit more. This guy, he used to be on the left. Listen to what happened to him. He was rooting for Charlie Kirk's death and how much he's changed since then.
Actually glad that Charlie Kirk was murdered, but probably not for the reason you think. I was at work when I first found out. A fellow employee had wandered up to me, cell phone in hand, and asked, "Did you hear that Charlie Kirk just got assassinated?" And I, without even a moment's hesitation, responded, "Good! Fuck that Nazi white supremacist piece of shit!" I had never before witnessed such a perfectly blended expression of disgust, disappointment, sadness, and surprise, all through the window of another man's eyes, or experienced a silence so uncomfortable as the one that followed. And although that look on his face now haunts me more and more with each passing day, at the time, it only made me distrustful and upset. But little did I know that the sentence which followed would end up becoming the most profoundly psychologically impactful question that I've ever been confronted with. Have you ever actually watched any of his debates? I decided to end the conversation immediately. This man was clearly a lost cause, one of those intellectually dishonest Kool-Aid drinking types who refuses to engage in good faith with any perspective which contradicts their outstandingly narrow and propagandized worldview. And by this man, I mean me. Because I hadn't actually watched any of his debates. I was basing literally every single thing I believe about a human being with thousands of hours worth of publicly available recordings of himself openly expressing his opinions on a small handful of out-of-context clips that had been curated for me by algorithms and media organizations being funded by the political opposition. I foamed at the mouth, right along with the rest of those rabid and bloodthirsty dogs, gleefully mocking those who had been saddened by his death and downplaying the atrocity of it all by suggesting that political violence is just an unfortunate yet necessary step toward our coveted socialist revolution. That is, until I began to notice a common thread. The exact same comment being repeated ad nauseum in nearly every single online space. Have you ever actually watched any of his debates? I didn't think much of it at first. Of course, right-wingers are all regurgitating the exact same talking point. They're in a cult. They're brainwashed. It was an ordinary and boring morning on the day I found out that I am a monster. In that moment where my curiosity got the best of me and I decided to click on some random YouTube thumbnail of Charlie Kirk with his goofy and gummy smile in an attempt to reaffirm my preconceived biases. And it was an unusually stressful afternoon on that very same day when I spoke to my father for the first time in years, despite the fact that he had always loved and supported me unconditionally. And it was a never-ending sleepless night, coming to terms with the fact that literally every single thing I thought I hated about the right, the bigotry, stupidity, violence, vitriol, and narrow-mindedness was actually just an outward projection of hatred toward my own self. Charlie Kirk is my hero. He opened my eyes to the cruel and manipulative nature of our political media, brought my family back together, and taught me how to love again. And to anyone who takes issue or offense with that, I'm going to do exactly what he would have done, and challenge you to answer a simple, honest, and straightforward question. Have you ever actually watched any of his debates?
I'll probably say I've seen a clip, right? Something like that. Here's a little bit of stuff on Starmer, kind of funny stuff. Bye-bye. Colin, is there any good promises of any changes that would be good? Here's Stammer singing like the Monkees parody. It's actually pretty good.
Power came from saying nothing, smiling blankly, dodging every blow. Every time they ask me, why am I so slow? I just mumble, I don't really know. You can tell that once that I'm a waker, not a trace.
Sing along if you know the words.
I just beg. Change reviews with every time. I thought those just like two men with principles. Turns out mine just vanish overnight. Said one thing on Monday, dish it all by noon.
This is kind of bathrobe, yeah. I think he was.
You can tell at once that I'm a wanker. Every answer carefully weighed. I'm a stooge in a suit and tie, spouting complete and utter lies. Truth was out to get me, or so I always claimed. Every time they pressed me, I shifted blame. You can tell at once that I'm a waker. No direction, no proper belief. I just nod, grit my teeth while I dodge the slightest grief. Yes, you can tell at once that I'm a waker. Not a clue what I stand for now. I'm a suit, lying all day, even I don't trust the things I say. Yeah, I'm a wanker, and I'm a wanker, and I'm a wanker, policy-free wanker, spin machine wanker, number 10 wanker, and I'm a wanker.
Let me pause there. Doesn't it say the evils? The evils.
I'm a wanker.
The evils. All right, here's Commie Harris on Lemon Show.
We must internalize the flatulation of the matter by transmitting the effervescence of the Indonesian proximity in order to further segregate the crux of my venereal infection.
Yeah. I second that, Colin. He's a wanker. I'm glad to see him go. I wish we could celebrate it a little bit more, but replace him with someone else pretty sick too. I don't know. It's pretty bad. That's about it. I'm going to skip that one. All right. Katie Hopkins. She's pretty good.
Breaking news here in batshit bonkers Britain, where Trump announced that Keir Starmer was resigning, and for the first time in his life, Keir Starmer did what he was told. Now, Andy Burnham wants to be Prime Minister. Andy Burnham was just elected as an MP in a tiny constituency by 9,000 votes, and about 2,000 of those were people who didn't want reform, so were voting tactically, but not actually for Labour. So,
actually, she should run for office. She would do a lot better job.
Andy Burnham plans to be Prime Minister based off about 7,000 Labour votes when we have a voting population of about 50 million people here in the UK. 60 million if you include fraudulent Labour family voting. So 6,000, 7,000 votes out of a possible voting population of 60 million. That seems very democratic indeed, doesn't it? Andy Burnham is the Messiah without a mandate. Our country's problems are not going to be fixed at the ballot box. It is going to be a truly biblical struggle instead, and I don't think Andy Burnham is prepared for that. In other news, asbestos. We banned asbestos from this country over a decade ago, but now we're importing it from China. Yes, over 1,000 wind farms, probably many more in this country, have got asbestos in their wind farms because we brought them from China. So not only are we offshoring skilled labour that we could have given to young people in this country, we're importing asbestos in our wind farms from China. And now we're going to have to pay to remove the asbestos that China gave us. And finally, tonight, England face off against Ghana. Last time I watched the game, due to being in a show just up the road, I watched it in a pub full of eunuchs without a
How did they do, England, that night?
Testicle between them, it seems. And I was physically and verbally assaulted by a very angry and ugly landlord, a balding man, who spat at me that my wife is Palestinian. Oh, I'm sorry about that, darling. You know, we all have to own our issues. Your issue is probably just a very sweet one. It seems like you may have integrated a little bit too much into that culture now that you're beating up women as part of your daily routine. I have, of course, reported the incident to the Metropolitan Police. But given the two-tier policing in this country, I may as well just take a piss in the wind. Tonight, I will watch the game surrounded by real men. That's it, my darlings. Batshit bonkers Britain.
All right. The target that was never the criminals. Target the criminals and the hunters here. This is the song type thing. I didn't read it well.
I wake up every morning, checked against the list. The CPI computer sees if I exist. In a database of trouble, but I'm clean as the snow. I'm the most vetted citizen this country will know. I lock up my property, I take all the tests. I pay for the license, I do my best. But the men in the suits with their pens and their pride are coming for the farmers on the countryside. They say it's for safety, they say it's for peace, but they're ignoring the border, ignoring police. They spent 67 million for years on the clock, and they haven't collected a single stock. 88% are coming from the south, but they're taking the words right out of our mouth.
That's a big one.
The gangs run the city with smuggled steel. They
That's a big game.
Hunters who are working the field.
But Brazil's always tough.
$24,000 to buy back a gun, while the real criminals are out on the run. Oh, the math doesn't add up, the logic is gone. Listen to the science, the target is wrong. Yeah, the target is wrong. 0.04% of the crime is done by the folks who are doing the time. The McDonald Laurier paper made it clear There's no evidence backing the policies here. From the indigenous hunters feeding their kin to the sports shooting champions who practice to win. They banned 2,500 models by decree, bypassing the parliament, bypassing you and me. They say it's for safety, they say it's for peace, but they're ignoring the border, ignoring police. They spent 67 million for years on the clock, and they haven't collected a single stock. 88% are coming from the south, but they're taking the words right out of our mouth. When the gangs run the city with smuggled steel, they punish the hunters who are working the field. $24,000 to buy back a gun, while the real criminals are out on the run. Oh, the math doesn't add up, the logic is gone. Listen to the science, the target is wrong. Yeah, the target is wrong. If you want to stop violence, we'll stand by your side. Stop the ghosts at the border where the smugglers hide. But you can't buy your safety by stealing our rights. When the data is screaming in plain black and white, we're 4 times less likely to break any law. We're 4 times less likely to break any law. 88% are coming from the south, but they're taking the words right out of our mouth. When the gangs run the city with smuggled steel, they punish the hunters who are working the field. $24,000 to buy back a gun, while the real criminals are out on the run. Oh, the math doesn't add up, the logic is gone. Listen to the science, the target is wrong.
It's their government.
Yeah, the target is wrong. Yeah, the target is wrong. We passed every test, but the target is wrong. Leave the law-abiding alone.
It was well done, actually. Very well done.
UK government can hunt down people who post offensive things online, but they can't hunt down asylum seekers. It is definitely a two-tier system. And just remember that the person in charge of all this is Shabana Mahmood, who in her own words said, "Islam is the absolute driver of everything I do." That's her quote.
I don't, politically at least, I don't trust Shabana Mahmood. I've said for many nights now, she was on the beaches of Lesbos welcoming thousands of migrants into Greece, handing them life jackets. I don't know how you can change ideology like that over the course of a few years just because it suits you politically. But Labour, Jade, has said that, well, they're vowing to end the use of asylum hotels by the end of the current parliament. But we all know what that means, don't we?
Well, yes, they want to extend the housing up until 2030. You know, even the Ministry of Defence housing for these military-aged men that...
How about deport them? What's wrong with deporting them and get them off the payrolls?
Are, you know, asylum seekers. Why are they not back in their home countries? Why are they not fighting for their own lands? Where are the women and children? These don't seem like asylum seekers to me.
Some people watching this, they'll say, but yes, Jade, these people are contributing to society. They're paying lots of tax eventually when they have their asylum claims processed. It's all about multiculturalism and it's diversity and it's great. We're experiencing, you know, everything great they have to offer.
I very much doubt that because asylum seekers are barred from working. They are given an allowance. They bring their wives over. Every pregnant woman and child gets extra allowance, which is an incentive to have more children and drain the system. It's already overwhelmed, and that money should go to, for example, our old folks that struggle during the winter. And this is just a government full of traitors.
Lesbos are pronouncing that in a different way to get the whole new meaning. Not sure what you mean. I'll read that again in a minute here. Let's go with no, I didn't want to do that one. The council. All right, let's go with Michigan. The whole thing is Muslim. The whole council in Michigan is now Muslim.
They banned the pride flag. So now you have an all-Muslim city council and mayor, and now they've taken down all the pride flags. One of the best examples, I think, of...
See, the Red-Green Alliance, it doesn't pay too well for the green.
Suicidal empathy happening in real time is a town in Michigan called Hamtramck, and I believe it was the first town in the United States that authorized the Muslim call to prayer in the morning. The liberal people in that town wanted to protect Muslim rights. There was a whole bunch of people from Bangladesh, Armenia coming into the town, and these were the people who were very much pro-LGBTQ++. So they welcomed tons of refugees into their small town, who eventually became the majority.
Because they'd vote Democrat.
And then what happened is you got the first mayor from this country. City council became all Muslim. It's an example of you have to be careful of the unintended consequences of good intentions. Because what happened in that town this year is that they banned the pride flag. So now you have an all-Muslim city council and mayor, and now they've taken down all the pride flags. And the liberal women who were behind this whole movement are now like, what's going on? And now they're being completely rebuked. And it reminds me of communism, where the agitators and the revolutionaries are just useful idiots for the people who want to take power. And whether it's communists, people from a different country or worldview, take a look at that town. Tell me what you think about it, because I think that is a little microcosm of what could happen on a grand scale in Europe and North America if we're not sure about making sure people share our values before we put them in a position to take over. Here's a story of how a liberal town that was very pro-LGBTQ went to a town that now bans Pride Month and Pride Flag.
They got what they voted for, that's for sure. All right, they caught, now in England, there's citizens that have been going around catching these rapists that are trying to meet young girls and all this and that, and then they end up capturing them, taking them back and gang raping them. And so they're capturing these guys and holding them for the cops to come. I don't know that they just give them a slap on the wrist, but here's another one that got caught.
Is it Sahil Umar Khan?
Yes.
Okay, right. Are you 30 or 33 or 28? Because you keep changing your age a little bit.
No, I am.
Age?
33.
33. Ah, right. So first you said 33 on the original thing, then you said 30, and then you said 28. Do not say the girl's name. I've told you already, okay? Yeah, you can understand. You can understand. Right.
Listen, stop fucking tensing.
I tell you what then, don't speak.
Stop tensing up.
Wait. Don't speak then. Just stay quiet and you can listen to what I've got to say, okay? Number one, section 15, sex communication.
Don't speak. Don't talk. Listen to what this lady's saying to you. Then you can speak. Until she's finished, you shut up.
Right.
Shut up.
Oi, you've just been staking around watching for her. You just shush for 5 minutes. Well, no, for 2 minutes, because I'm pretty quick. Right. You contacted her on April.
Stop it. You're tensing up and trying to move.
Going on the floor in a minute. You'll go on the floor.
Right, you told her that she was very small, okay? You said she was very small and there was a big age difference. You said you had to wait till she was 18. Well, you want to take her away in 3 weeks to Spain for 4 days, don't you? Yeah, then you asked, you asked what a relationship she wanted with you. You said you would decide after meeting her. Then you said goodbye, but then you asked for pics. Then you told her she was gorgeous and pretty. You asked, have you got a boyfriend? Do you drink whiskey? Told her, I want a relationship with you long term. Do you want sex with me? You are so sexy and hot. Then you asked for naked images multiple times. You told her, I want to meet you now and drink the milk. She asked, what do you mean? You said, milk from your boobs. Yeah. You told her you want to do everything. You asked, is this your first time? You asked, show me your boobs, my love.
I'm fucking telling you now. Stop tensing up because you're not going anywhere.
You want a like to have sex. You sleep with any boy before? Have you never lip kissed a boy? I want to kiss your boobs and body. Then have sex. And you said, sex, licking and sucking everything. You have come here today to meet somebody under the...
Yeah, you are. You're trying to pull away now.
Under the age.
I know, nothing.
Listen, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing and wait for the police because you are getting arrested. You are getting Sahil Umar Khan from the long side, 33. You are getting arrested today. Also, you turned up on a child meet. Do you know what? Listen. You are getting remanded. We're under GMP.
Right,
You are going straight to prison. No passing go. No £200.
You know what day it is?
I don't know.
It's Father's Day. Yeah? It's Father's Day.
Father's Day today.
Yeah? We should be all at home with our families.
With our kids.
Yeah, with our kids. Enjoying the day. Instead, listen to what I'm saying for guys. Instead, yeah, we've not been able to do anything because we've come for you. Yeah, because you're a dirty, horrible fucking wrongdoer.
I know nothing.
Yes, you are. Yeah?
Oi, swat, I should have been in my dad's grave.
You've been driving about, fucking scoping the place out. Don't tell us 1 second. We call the shots. Not you. Right? No, I'm not your brother either.
They're scum.
How long have you been in this country?
I don't understand.
How long you do understand? How long have you been in this country? How long have you lived in this country?
All your life? You're born and bred in Britain, yes.
But I know nothing.
Listen, how long have you been here?
When did you come to UK?
When did you come to the UK?
Sorry?
When did you come to live in the UK?
Sir, please.
Listen, Penfold, answer the question.
When did you come to UK? Were you born in the UK or have you?
No,
Are you on a visa?
I am Spanish national.
Yeah, Spanish.
Yeah.
Right. So how long have you been in the UK?
Yeah, I'm living here.
How long?
How long? How many years were you born?
Born.
You were born in Spain.
No, Spain, Pakistan.
Pakistan.
Right. So how long have you lived in the UK?
Pakistan, see?
5 years.
Now he's trying to say
you know the
Spanish.
rules, don't you? You know.
He's not giving him a straight story.
So it's Sahel Umar Khan, 33 alongside. Here we go.
You leave our
Please
kids
share
alone.
for awareness, guys. It's GMP, so thank you.
He needs to. Oh, let the parents get a hold of them. Right? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I have no words.
I'm so glad Keir Starmer's finally out. But we desperately need a proper general election now. We didn't vote for Andy Burnham. People are already chanting Andy Burnham's a wanker.
They won't give it to you.
This revolving door of leaders is a national embarrassment. Brits deserve to have the say at the ballot box, not watch more Westminster Games. We're all knackered with this endless drama and broken promises. Call that general election now and let the people decide, not Labour's insiders. And don't get me started on the rape gang scandal. It's a national disgrace how long it's been dragged out. It took Rupert Lowe of Restore Britain to finally shine a proper light on it with his inquiry. We need real answers and justice, not more Labour delays and cover-ups.
No, it's taking the regular people, Colin, to catch these people. You know, the police aren't really doing anything about it. I don't know if they're going to hold him either.
That's another reason Burnham shouldn't just walk into number 10. He's got questions to answer on Greater Manchester too.
Here's something on the Obama's presidential library. $850 million.
Barack Obama's presidential center opened on Chicago's South Side. It cost $850 million. It began as a presidential library project. That means 16 years of American history should be.
A lot of people think it looks like a big toilet.
Be there for review by historians, researchers, and you out there in the general public. But that idea got aborted very early, and it's clear why. As of now, the records of those 16 years are being hidden, the dirty parts scrubbed and withheld, particularly the ones dealing with the 2015 forward surveillance and ultimate coup against Donald Trump. The building, which Obama says he helped design, looks like an East German prison planted in the heart of Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara Boyd. My friends and I knew who Barack Obama was way back in 2008, and we exposed his crimes repeatedly from 2008 forward. Now, before I go deeper into this scandal, please hit the like button and share this video. It increases our reach. For stealing a beautiful and historic public park. That land became Obama's center. She didn't apologize to the Black contractors who worked on the center and got stiffed by Obama and now are in bankruptcy. Most of all, she didn't apologize to the American people for Barack Obama's attempt to steal and revise an entire 8 years of American presidential history. Now, every president since Herbert Hoover has donated their official records to the federal government, their papers, their correspondence, their decisions held by the National Archives accessible to historians and researchers and made available by the archives to the American public. That's what's called a presidential library. But Obama's presidential records aren't even at his center. They're at the National Archives. And through a corrupt sweetheart deal with the National Archives, Barack Obama and his foundation are determining what documents get digitized and when they get digitized or released. The Daily Beast, normally an Obama fan, calls this, and I quote, a mockery of transparency. And here's what Obama said about the building he helped design.
And it's why we designed the center not to be some lifeless mausoleum. I am too young for that. Not just a place to see Michelle's dresses, although I understand that will be the top attraction. We wanted it to be a vibrant, living celebration of community where we can learn together and share the joys of art and music and sport and play. Because it's in those moments that we're reminded of our common humanity and strengthen the bonds of trust that not only make our lives richer, but make our democracy stronger.
Listen to those soaring words and then look at that building again. Doesn't it remind you of the entire Obama presidency? Isn't its brutality and ugliness the truth regarding the three presidencies preceding Donald Trump's surprise 2016 victory? Bill Clinton, George Bush, and Obama. Clinton, Bush, and Joe Biden were all at the dedication ceremony yesterday, dancing and enthralled with the idea of celebrating Barack Obama. But Bill Clinton's presidency was when China was brought into the WTO and the final offshoring of America's manufacturing and industrial infrastructure began and continued. Under Bush, 9/11 inaugurated a seemingly permanent surveillance police state and the disastrous Iraq War. Barack Obama bailed out the world's speculators in 2009 on the backs of American workers and the middle class. They ended up broken, while Obama's banker friends only got richer. They were told to, quote, learn to code. That's not to mention Obama's role in starting the wars in Ukraine and Iran. And finally, that's when a rigged election resulted in a senile man assuming America's presidency. 4 years of government by staff and American decline run by holdovers loyal to one man, Barack Obama. Now, if you're like me and you're always looking for the reality underlying events despite the media's half-truths and lies, you should subscribe to our free newsletter. We try our best to present that truth here, and you'll find a whole lot more of it in the newsletter. Now, in her speech at Thursday's dedication, Michelle Obama took numerous cheap shots at President Trump without naming him. Here's Time Magazine's take.
No surprise there for Big Mike.
Michelle Obama, after enumerating her husband's many accomplishments, including winning the Nobel Peace Prize, which Trump has long coveted and openly campaigned for, said that former President Obama has, quote, proven that a lasting legacy isn't an award or a name on a building or a number of zeros in the bank account, but the difference we make in one another's lives. Now, Barack and Michelle make their money making movies and producing fiction. They hang out with the richest of the rich. But in their speeches Thursday, they tried to claim the mantle of working class heroes, empathy for those below us. Listen to Michelle.
It's why during our administration, we threw open the White House doors to all sorts of folks who don't usually get to meet the president or first lady. The families pinching pennies to send their first child to college. The teenagers who
or the Big Mike
know that a hot afternoon means the bullets start flying. The military spouses and children serving and sacrificing just like their loved ones in uniform. The Native kids showing us that resilience and pride can never be stolen. The 4-H'ers and FFA members with calluses on their hands from feeding livestock. The immigrants proving what it truly means to be a dreamer. These folks aren't Americans too. They are America. They are the beating heart of this country. They are us, and we are them.
Donald Trump won large sections of traditional working class and middle class voters from the Democrats in 2024 because he promised to turn around the nation's economic decline, bring back industry and manufacturing, close the open border, restore law and order, reinstill the tough American spirit, and the culture of suicide represented by climate hysteria, COVID mandates, censorship, and DEI. He put new challenges before us, like going to the moon and civilizing space. And he has kept those campaign promises.
Yoga.
So in their speeches Thursday, the Obamas tried to erase
I did do a yoga one with Big Mike.
Whole sections of their ruinous 8U presidency in order to claim that they did and will do a better job supporting the working class and middle class than their enemy, Donald Trump. That's the central campaign idea the Democrats are putting forward for the midterms. Now, when I think about what's going on here, the attempt to control and conceal the documents of a two-term presidency,
Is it possible, Tammy, they're going to close down Wimpkin after it's sold, or are they going to keep it open and improve it?
Orwell's Ministry of Truth from the novel 1984 pops right up in my mind. Even the depiction of Orwell's Ministry of Truth and the brute ugliness of Obama's center seem very much alike to me. In that Orwell novel, the hero, Winston Smith, works in the Ministry of Truth. His job...
I'm trying to get my numbers up so I can go live on Getter. I'm a long ways from it, though. I'm well over 1,000, but I guess you got to get to 3,500 is what I'm told.
Job is not to destroy the past, it is to revise it, to make the official version of history match whatever the party needs to say today. The Ministry of Truth did not burn records, it controlled them. That's exactly the...
Oh, I'm on the web version of Rumble right now. That's what I'm doing. Actually, for me, it's worked out the best, even though there's bugs. There's bugs in it, you know.
Deal between the Obama Foundation and the National Archives. 95% of what happened inside the Obama White House exists in a format that his private foundation now controls. And that private foundation can simply choose what to release and when. Now, think about what they're hiding. The Obama White House is a documented origin point of what DNI Tulsi Gabbard called a treasonous conspiracy against the Trump presidency. It started with the lie that Trump and the Russians stole the 2016 election. That created the illegal entrapments and surveillance directed at the Trump presidential campaign. And they kept going. Obama and his friends were at the center of the 10-year deployment of our intelligence community, the British intelligence community, to sabotage, imprison, or otherwise eliminate the sitting president and later citizen Trump. That's been documented in congressional testimony, the Durham investigation, and Tulsi Gabbard's recent declassifications.
Is the phone better
it is the subject of an ongoing criminal grand jury investigation in the Southern District of Florida. The National...
I want to see some arrests, more. A lot more.
National Archives that made this corrupt deal to hide Obama's records was not a passive player in the coup. They worked to fabricate the claim that Donald Trump stole and misused classified documents. That's what the moral...
But then these types of cases do take a while, you know, to really lock them down, especially with big names.
Lago raid was all about. But the very same National Archives and Records Administration gave Barack Obama every document from his administration with the power to decide when and whether it will be released or not. But now the worst nightmare of Obama and friends is coming true. Donald Trump now has the intelligence community working at least in part for him. Josh Hallman of Just the News just joined the administration to help the president declassify the truth about the 2020 elections.
One programming note, I want to make sure everybody on this show is aware of it. I put it as a discussion.
About the elections, you know, everyone says, oh, it's in the past, forget about it, all this and that. That prevents it from happening in the future. You got to nip it in the bud right now.
disclaimer on all my shows. I mentioned it on my podcast today. For the next couple of months, I'm working as an unpaid government employee to help the government identify documents that can be released to the public. It's your information, after all. Bureaucrats keep us from it. I have an opportunity to help the government identify some documents, some secrets, some things you should know about when it comes to weaponization, election integrity, other things. We're going to work on that. But during that time, I just want you to know, I've stepped aside as the editor-in-chief of Just the News. I still do my reporting. We're still going to do the amazing show here with Amanda. But I want everybody to know that I'm doing this. I'm unpaid. I don't take any money from the government. I think it's a good role.
I play a little bit of cards on the computer, but not much when I'm listening.
But I want you to know personally.
Bill Pulte's job.
I used to play Delta Force, Land Force, Wire a long time ago. But then they got really busy, you know.
This acting DNI will be forcing these declassifications, picking up the baton from Tulsi Gabbard. That's why the senators and congressmen who tolerated and encouraged this sedition are so freaked out now. Their dirty laundry is also about to be exposed. So let's go back to where we started. Why did Barack Obama avoid creating a traditional presidential library with full public transparency about what went on in his administration? Because a presidential library belongs to history, and history, real history, accessible history, the kind that can be subpoenaed and cross-referenced and contradicted, is no longer something the people who built the Obama era are willing to let run free. Orwell didn't imagine a ministry of truth built on cleared Southside land. He did imagine it funded by private equity and tech billionaires, but he absolutely understood the purpose. Obama, the Democrats, the Bush Republicans, they're all united now in trying to lie and cheat their way through the midterm elections.
Yeah.
They hope to kill the Trump president.
I seen that too. They're not going to mail anything unless the state complies. If a blue state complies. I think what they want is the voter records, IDs, not IDs, voter legislative things, you know, the voter IDs, I guess, you know.
In the midterms.
I don't know exactly
what
you call
Promethean
it.
Action, we're dedicated to not letting them.
All registered voters, that's what I'm looking for. That's the word I'm looking for.
Do that. To making them pay for their crimes, the ones they committed against the president and the American people. But we need your help now to do that. If you haven't already subscribed to our newsletter, please do so.
Now, if they don't do the mail-in, will they do drop boxes? Will the Democrats put all these drop boxes around so they can mail them in that way instead of going through the regular mail?
So now, this has been your Saturday update. Thanks for listening.
I think they're desperate to
subscribe to our free newsletter.
I think they're desperate to stuff in things and steal the next one really bad. So, all right, the left is now trying to bully banks. Watch this.
Imagine if activists could decide which companies are allowed to exist, not through laws or elections, but by pressuring banks to cut them off financially, because that's where it's happening right now. A coalition of roughly 60 activist groups is reportedly demanding that Citizens Bank sever ties with companies involved in immigration detention, even though these are contracts, they are legal, and they're authorized by the federal government. This wasn't a spontaneous protest. Organizers coordinated a national day of action, as they do, and provided toolkits to help activists pressure the bank. And here's the bigger question. If a lawful company can be punished financially because activists disagree with it, then where does this stop? Because today it's immigration, detention, it's ICE. Tomorrow it could be an oil company, a firearm manufacturer, a religious organization, a media company. So you don't have to support every company involved to recognize the precedent that this sets. In America, should lawful businesses rise or fall based on market competition and the rule of law, or because organized pressure campaigns from the left convince banks to shut them out? And that's the debate we need to be having, because obviously this is very anti-American and this is pressure from the left.
So yeah, I think they're going to put drop boxes in all the Democratic areas, if you ask me.
I'm starting to think this whole thing might not be about the music. Live streamer Clavicula took a walk around Paris and immediately began noticing.
Interesting demographics, I'll say that. Yeah, this is not safe.
Yeah, welcome to Europe, mate. Fête de la musique, then.
La fête de la musique est lancée partout en France.
Fête de la musique now. Multiple syringe attacks happened again, with one man roaming around with needles on his belt. Women were again targeted, one being awed after a needle attack and another losing consciousness. Where were the police in all this, you might ask? They made 248 arrests, and now they've been told no more arrests for weeks because prosecutors are so overwhelmed. The police and the media came out afterwards and said that the event took place with no major incidents. Yeah, this is how low we've sunk, to the point where this level of chaos is considered normal and acceptable.
Yeah, is John okay? I haven't seen him on the other platforms that we're both on. I haven't seen him at all. All right, these are Christians in Africa, and the Muslims are capturing them and turning them into slaves. Modern day slaves. Where's the left protesting this? See how they tied their arms behind their backs? There was one woman in there. And they beat him too. It's ridiculous. No one said, see the one with the gun there? That's how they control them. If you control the guns, you control them. All right, in 8 years, this is how much carbon the Chinese has been pumping out. And here they're going for stricter rules in Britain.
Net zero is wrecking our industry, but it's making absolutely no difference to climate change.
In the 8 years between 2013 and 2020, China pumped out more carbon emissions than Britain has produced over the past 250 years. And that's not just because China is a bigger country. Per person emissions from China are more than double those in Britain.
No matter what Britain does, we can only have a tiny impact on global climate change. At the same time, net zero is wrecking businesses in this country. In large part because of this government's mad net zero policies, British firms now face the highest industrial energy prices in the developed world, more than double what their competitors pay in the United States. Given all this, it's hardly surprising that thousands of businesses are either choosing to move abroad or shutting down altogether. It's been a total disaster for our country, and it's leaving us all poorer. The government has to drop this mad net zero obsession and put the British people first.
They do. And yet, they do all these deals, and China wants these deals done like that because it's harming our industries while they grow.
A moment ago, you said you instructed your team. Collins, Birx, Walensky, Redfield, and Daszak. You told them not to interfere with the scientific process or push any preconceived narrative on the origins of COVID. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And they were clear on your orders?
Crystal.
Any chance Francis Collins ignored your orders and pushed the natural origin story anyway?
Hey! I followed the science. The data was evolving. Collins, shut up.
Any chance Dr. Birx doctored the models?
Those models were based on the best available projections. I didn't fabricate anything.
Any chance Rochelle Walensky unmasked and censored doctors who questioned the vaccines or masks for political gain?
It was routine public health guidance. I was protecting lives.
Can you shut these people up?
When you told everyone to stand down on the lab leak theory, any chance they greenlit the cover-up anyway?
We investigated based on the evidence! Yeah, there were legitimate concerns about wet markets.
Answer the question, Fauci.
Hey, Trump, can I get some respect here? I'm the former head of an IAID. I'd appreciate if Mr. Gabbard would address me as doctor or sir. I think I've earned it. No, you're not going to get any respect. Not after what you put America through. And you'll address me as President Trump? I think I've earned it. Have you ever had to lie to a country, Mrs. Gabbard?
No, sir.
Ever balanced global alliances while funding gain-of-function research and used follow the science to control the narrative?
No, sir.
Ever had to make calls that kept Democrats safe while filling your bank account with taxpayer money and big pharma grants?
No, sir.
My team always followed orders, Mrs. Gabbard. They followed orders, or the lockdowns failed. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear?
Crystal, but if you ordered your team not to suppress the lab leak theory, and your orders are always followed, why was the entire scientific community and media locked into the natural origin story for years?
Well, There were concerns about foreign interference. I mean, zoonotic spillover.
But that's not what you said. You said there was no lab leak. You told everyone.
Oh, I didn't want to bug him. I was just curious if something had happened, that everything was okay in his family and all that kind of stuff. I just want to make sure.
In early 2020, the virus couldn't have come from Wuhan.
That's what we assessed.
Yet you pushed the wet market narrative. Why?
It was a precaution.
A precaution or a cover-up? You said there was no threat of a lab origin, yet your team funded EcoHealth and suppressed dissenting scientists for years.
I recall what
I can have the court reporter read it back to you.
I know what I said. I don't need it read back like I'm some kind of pharmacist.
Then why the two stories, Dr. Fauci?
Sometimes people act on their own.
No. You said your team never acts on their own. They follow orders, or the narrative fails. So why was the truth about COVID's origins buried?
The court's waiting, Tony. Spill it.
If your team followed orders, then why was every dissenting doctor and scientist under surveillance and censored? You ordered the suppression, didn't you? Because that's what you told your team to do. And when it started to unravel, you threw your staff under the bus.
No! Objection!
You falsified memos. You manipulated the funding reports. Dr. Fauci, did you order the cover-up of the lab leak and the gain-of-function research?
Doctor, you don't have to answer that!
You want answers?
I think America's entitled.
You want answers?
America wants the truth.
America can't handle the truth!
Did you lie to America?
You're damn right I did!
That's for sure. I hope they do a part 2 to that. It's actually pretty good, even though it's the AI and all that. Okay, America's now paying for foreign aid to 177 countries. Almost all the countries get some foreign aid from America. Almost all of them.
Congress just handed out another $50 billion in foreign aid, lovingly doled out to 177 countries. Now, considering there's only 190 countries in the world, that means fully 96% of the world is getting a check
Brazil
from Washington.
already, huh?
Basically, if we're not currently bombing you, we are currently paying you. Now, this is a very odd way to run an empire. Imagine the great empires of antiquity, the Romans, Song China, the Mongols. They did not, as a rule, pay their subjects. It's kind of supposed to go the other direction. In fact, given great slabs of the world sponge off our military umbrella, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Australia, Canada, of course, Europe, we could charge them north of $1 trillion a year. The military budget could turn a profit. Instead, the entire world, well, 96% of the world, is getting paid. Now, a lot of this is hidden, either run through the Pentagon or it's lent as sweetheart rates with no expectation of repayment, a favored method of funding one of our main allies in the Middle East. And all this money is not to buy friends. Europe, for example, would hate us even if we didn't pay them. No, it's to feed Washington's twin uniparty megagrifts, military contractors, and left-wing NGOs. To illustrate, in March, the GAO reported 60 to 70% of foreign aid never reaches the targets. It gets siphoned off by left-wing NGOs so they can riot for racial justice or burn Tesla dealerships. In military, the grift is almost the entire check. Warmongers like Lindsey Graham brag about the fact that U.S. contractors get the cash, ignoring the fact that every ton of steel that
money laundering
went into a tank for Ukraine came out of a railroad bridge in Ohio. Our military welfare is so promiscuous that many wars now involve both sides using weapons we gave them. Last year, India and Pakistan squared off with F-16 and Apache helicopters you paid for. Turkey and Greece regularly fondle their F-16s at each other. Turkey feeds surplus American weapons to Azerbaijan, who's at war with Armenia, to whom we also give billions in weapons. The entire Iraqi military was built with USA.
They needed a good start in order to win it.
Before we bombed it in the dust. We armed the Taliban against the Soviets, then rearmed them when Joe Biden ran off tail between legs. Multiple wars in Africa are now American arms on all sides, including the Congo Civil War that's killed 5 million people. And of course, Mexico, where the Obama administration literally trafficked arms to the cartels to the point 80% of cartel heavy arms come from the U.S. Now, Trump promised to slash foreign aid, and to be fair, he did cut regular aid by a third, famously defunding U.S. aid. That's still 2/3 too much, but even that took heaven and earth to lawyer past the NGOs. Unfortunately, Trump increased the other half of military aid, especially to the Middle East. He tripled so-called development financing to $205 billion, not including hundreds of billions in grand schemes to rebuild Ukraine and the Gaza Strip that thankfully have not gone anywhere. So, as next brought to you by The Bitcoin Way. From
Someone's
Chicago and
milking the
Baltimore
money
to
out of it.
Appalachia and the Rust Belt, America's got plenty of mouths to feed before we start paying Azerbaijan. Polls find Americans overwhelmingly want to cut foreign aid, including 91% of Republicans. Unfortunately, in Washington, money talks when contractors and NGOs are in the game.
NGOs is who brings all the illegals over here. All right, here's about the aid, U.S. Aid there. There's more on that.
USAID gave $5 million to Open Society Foundation Macedonia. $5 million, a direct grantee. With the help of then President Barack Obama's U.S. ambassador to Macedonia, the U.S. government spent millions of taxpayer dollars to destabilize the democratically elected center-right government by colluding with Soros. So USAID is actually funding Soros, and Soros is passing those funds to the people on the ground, the local politicians, the local judges, the local prosecutors, the local anti-corruption NGOs, the local media outlets, the local trade labor groups and unions. One NGO funded by the USAID Soros Alliance paid for the translation into Macedonian of Saul Alinsky's.
I don't know if it's a close game, and it might be a lot of fun, Colin. It might not be a waste. It was an open goal. Wow, that's going to be on the highlight films.
Rules for radicals. So USAID paid to have Saul Alinsky street protest handbooks printed. How funny is that?
I just want to provide a little bit of proof for you to show you documented evidence that George Soros is linked with USAID. In 2001, he was actually listed as an official partner of the Soros Foundation Network, listed USAID among its donor partners alongside other government aid agencies. This means that USAID, our tax money, was being laundered directly to George Soros. Here we have a couple of specific grants. There's a $2 million.
That's how he gets so rich.
There's a whole bunch more that flowed to him. And let's just take a look at those street protest handbooks that were talked about in the video. It's $5 million. USAID provided this money. It was cited in the Government Accountability Office to fund these right here.
Well, they're playing at a higher level.
They fund activism, these freedom of association youth policies, citizen initiatives, new media, and organizing tactics. So this was basically just printing these protest handbooks, training these youth and these activists to overthrow governments. Really pay attention to this last part right here. Training for protests and political pressure, contributing to a political crisis with ethnic division, and street actions, meaning protests, starting in 2015.
Yep. That's our money laundering. I tell you that. All right, here he said he would cut 75,000 jobs having to do with China. Didn't happen though.
You stood on the stage in 2025. Said caps, not cuts, we ain't cutting no lies. 12,000 gone in the first wave, 57,000 more by 28. Savings ain't coming back to you or me. They're feeding an 80 billion military spree. Dead interest bigger than health transfers combined, while the ledger bleeds and the people fall behind. Elbows up, that's what you sold. Elbows down when the truth gets told. You said one thing, then you did the other. The record don't lie, brother, it's your own ledger. Elbows up for the cameras and the vote. Elbows down when accountability's the code.
And the media is part of it.
Flip-flop king with a silver tongue, but the facts keep coming and they ain't been spun. Called them the biggest security threat on the trail. Been signed a strategic partnership without fail. 49,000 knees rolling in a 6.1. while forced labor language vanished and the job got done. Drop the words about forced labor into bed from the plant floor across her, asked if the witness seen it with her own two hands. I don't believe in reports, he said on the stand, while the embassy called it a lie and you stayed silent, man. 2021, the House said genocide. 266 to 0, now it's set aside. Elbows up, that's what you sold. Elbows down when the truth gets told. You said one thing, then you did the other. The record don't lie, brother, it's your own ledger. "12 days silent when the missile hit the base camp. Canada and Kuwait learned it from the press. Satellite photos, emergency debate you skip. No announcement, no briefing, just a cover that slipped. Vaccine data sealed to 2040. Why? Secret land deals moving quiet on the sly, affecting millions in Vancouver, not a word in the House. While you preach transparency from the PMO mouth. Travel tab 2.
I think it's even harder in Canada to get justice against these criminals up there than it is in America.
5 million plus, catering 960 grand, that's on us. Not disclosed means you just didn't tell, while the deficit's 78 billion and the people catch hell. Defoe said rupture, world moves on without the U.S. 5 months later in New York, make America great again. You're blessed. I ran in 96 hours, 4 positions you took. Polls moved, you moved, never mind the book. Gas tax mocked in the morning, diluted by the afternoon. Right after the floor crossings sealed the room, 4 MPs crossed first time in history. Minority to majority, without the people say, so see. Ethics committee said sail the Brookfield stake. 4 days later you announced a 25 billion take. Sovereign wealth, but it's borrowed debt you spend. Sectors line up with the holdings you defend. Elbows up, that's what you sold. Elbows down when the truth gets told. You said one thing, then you did the other. The record don't lie, brother, it's your own ledger. Accountability's a one-way street. Transparency's optional when you're in the seat. From the land that remembers, we see what you done. The ledger's wide open, can't outrun the sun. Elbows down, the record don't lie. Elbows down, truth from the fire. Elbows down, for the vulnerable ones. Elbows down, the ledger still runs.
You know, Mark Carney came from England. He ran the banks in England. So he took his corruption from England to Canada and is running it up there. It's terrible. Now watch on transport there. They're taking the fares from the white people and the illegals and other people. They're not charging them a fare. Watch this.
This happened on a train in Italy.
Italy was, okay.
Now, the conductor seems to have mysteriously forgotten to check a couple of tickets there. Another form of white privilege we all get to enjoy. In fact, in the state of Thuringia in Germany, train conductors were told not to check the train tickets of migrants to keep the peace. Euphemism for not being violently attacked.
Don't worry, we're paying for it.
A study out of Italy confirmed that non-European immigrants are more likely to evade fares, primarily because they're more likely not to be asked for proof that they've paid. France, asylum seekers can get 50 to 75% off the price of public transportation tickets. That's their reward for illegally entering the country. Your reward for being a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen. Pay up or get off.
And you got to pay for theirs, too. Here's some more about the UK and this.
People of the United Kingdom, in all seriousness, what the fuck is going on in your country? And I'm not even talking about the immigration. Like that's its own set of craziness. No, I'm talking about the fact that the things we hear from your country, like the things we see on the news, is like an episode of The Onion. Like this shit can't be real. Like, for example, you have a lawyer who took it upon himself to clean up a river, right? He cleared 200 bags of garbage from this polluted river just to, didn't charge anyone, didn't do it, just cleaned it up himself so that the river would be nicer. And that dude is facing jail time for that. Or in another,
so he's going to go to jail for cleaning up the river. Isn't it insane in England?
In case you have a woman who is raped by a Somali migrant. And it's not debatable whether or not he did it. He was convicted and given no jail time. However, she then went and did an interview where she talked about what happened. And now she's being prosecuted for hate speech. And she's looking at prison time while the man who raped her is walking free.
So the rapist goes free. If she talks about it, she goes to jail.
Or in other cases, I'm seeing actual citizens of the UK being hounded and being arrested for flying their own flag. They're literally flying the flag of their country across the street from people who are flying Palestinian flags. And the people flying the UK flags, the St. George's flag, are being arrested while the people flying the Palestinian flag are perfectly fine. Like, what the fuck is going on in your country? Each of these things by themselves is pure insanity. But it's just one story after, it's just one after another. Like, if I didn't know better, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I don't know better, it would seem that your country is intentionally doing everything they can to devalue the lives of actual UK citizens in favor of Middle Eastern migrants.
Because they're trying to replace you. That's why. They want to get rid of white Christianity.
And not just migrants, but also in favor of your country being worse. Like, your government seems to actively be trying to make your country as shitty as humanly possible. Like, you're prosecuting people for cleaning up. What the fuck is going on?
Wow. 2 already. Wow. Is he having a bad game or just throwing the game or what? That's serious. All right, here's Babylon B, AI version of simulate if the United States had a second civil war. It's pretty good, actually. They did a good job on this. Second world, a civil war in America. That might come to fruition, though.
It was late 2026, and political conflict was coming to a head. The right was not giving any ground, and the left decided it was time to take action.
We had to do something. The Republicans were using every trick in the book, mainly voting to take over our country. It was finally time for war.
The left began to quickly make preparations to take the country by force.
It's not easy to start a war. It involves a lot of talking on the phone, which gives many of us anxiety.
An initial target was settled on, a lazy suburb that served as a symbol of the bourgeoisie and capitalism. But this small neighborhood was not caught by surprise.
Doreen's son goes to one of those fruity colleges on the West Coast, and we got word from him war was coming.
The invading army descended on the small neighborhood, but the attack did not go as planned.
In the city, we're used to being able to burn down a target and no one does anything.
I guess it's different in the suburbs, though.
The suburbanites had an ace up their sleeves: firearms.
One of the big issues is how we hate guns, but the right loves them. I guess none of us considered how big a disadvantage that would put us in a civil war.
A single warning shot was fired, causing half the invading force to have a panic attack. The rest fled for their lives. The Second American Civil War was over.
Everyone said I was crazy owning 6 AR-15s. And I guess they had a point, since we had a full civil war and I barely needed the one.
The left signed a statement of unconditional surrender. The right was now fully in control of the country.
As part of the surrender, we technically own California. We're seeing if it's possible to just push it off into the sea.
Many of the losing combatants
Send all the commies with it.
fled to the far north. Starvation was rampant among them from lack of access to DoorDash. Still, not everyone saw what happened as a total loss for the left.
I think we won by showing we will stand up to Republicans. But haven't you been exiled to Canada? It's great! I love it here!
That's if we had another civil war. We could get rid of all the commies, I guess. I don't know. This lady's.
Hey, Sobi, thanks for having me.
This lady does a good job on the interview things. I think it's AI, total AI. You know, this side's AI. I don't know. Her side is.
Hey, Sobi, thanks for having me on the pod. I'm really trying to break through with the young people this cycle. I'm told they all live inside the phone now. So, hello, in there.
Happy to have you, Senator. So let's just jump in. The Save America Act polls at 88%. Your own base is begging for it. Why won't you pass it?
David, did you hear that? She actually thinks we're going to vote on behalf of the American people. Good thing no one's going to watch this shitty podcast anyways.
Okay, boomer. The SAVE Act just asks people to prove they're citizens before they vote. Why would you block that?
Sovi, if only citizens voted, I'd have to win on merit. Have you seen my merit? I'm a piece of shit rhino who doesn't care what you people want.
Yikes. Okay. But Trump's just asking you to change the filibuster so it can pass. You must agree with that, right?
Sovi, the filibuster's the only thing keeping the uniparty intact. It lets me and the Democrats block everything and blame a rule. Same team, baby.
So you block what voters want, you can't win on merit, and you're secretly on the same team as the Democrats. Senator, thanks for being so honest. We should never do this again. If you enjoyed watching a sitting senator confess to treason, hit repost. There's plenty more where this came from.
It's pretty good. I just started following that one a little bit. All right, Karen Kennedy, my friend Karen Kennedy, Democrats try to unify the D.C. Reflecting poll. They're trying to ruin it. Watch this.
So the Marxists are at it again, huh? President Trump has worked tirelessly to...
You see, they had it all nicely done, and then they put fertilizer in it so it would cause algae all over the place. Then they went into the pool, and they cut all the sides of the damn thing, hundreds of yards long. They probably were wading in there with a knife and doing it. Because I don't think it's so deep that it's over your head.
Among all the other things he has to do that he has been doing, working to get this Iran...
They've had to put the National Guard out there to prevent him from damaging it anymore.
Memorandum of Understanding.
That's how much TDS
and all of the
have.
terms therein. Signed, sealed, delivered, so that they can work their way to a deal. This is just a memorandum of understanding. This is basically, do y'all hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? That's what an MOU is, by the way. He's doing all of this, still going to visit manufacturing plants, still just spending time with his grandbabies. You know, I can't stand liberals. I can't. I can't take it. They're destroying or trying to destroy the reflecting pool in DC. Like, what value do you get out of that? What is the value? What are you doing? I mean, I get it. You have Trump derangement syndrome. You're all jacked up in the head. Something's wrong with you. We need to reopen state hospitals and put your crazy ass in there. But what do you get out of it?
Now, what's going to happen after Trump? They'll still have this derangement thing of hating patriot, conservative type people. They're still going to be just as bad.
Like, is a single mother with 2 children who's living from paycheck to paycheck and trying to keep her head above water, does she benefit from you going and putting a giant gash in the reflecting pool or pouring chemicals that cause algae to grow? These dumb white liberals standing there singing to the algae, and talking to the algae. Keep growing, algae. Keep growing, algae. I can't stand them types. Denver is full of them. I can't stand them. They were at Juneteenth, just walking around like they own the place. They couldn't stand my black ass at the Republican booth, could they? I was supposed to be with the Democrats, right? Woo, the looks. How does you...
And her name is Karen Kennedy. A Kennedy name and Karen. Although there is a Kennedy that's conservative in the Senate.
Destroying the reflecting pool. How does that help an elderly woman who's an indigent? She can't get to the store. She lives on a fixed income. How does that help her? With you pouring some kind of chemical in the reflecting pool so algae grows and makes it ugly again. The reflecting pool has not been touched for decades, dude. It's been full of nastiness. The homeless people been peeing in there and defecating in there. There's cans and all kinds of needles floating around. It was disgusting. The smell was disgusting because it was unkept. Nobody ever cared. You just knew to walk way away from it. And now that the president has done this massive cleanup job, used his pool guys to get in there and clean it up and make it beautiful, we got people walking around D.C., not getting knocked over the head by these YNs and these illegals who are talking about how beautiful D.C. is now. My God, I've never seen water.
I mean, it's for the 250th anniversary of America.
Water in the reflecting pool has always just been nasty sludge. Oh my God, this is beautiful. And y'all want...
No, some of the chemicals they put in there killed some of the ducks. They'd actually killed the ducks.
Want to come in and make it ugly again? You're dumb. You're all dumb. Is something fucked up with you? We can't coexist with you. We can't live with you. All right? We want things beautiful, assholes. We don't want a mucky pool anymore. We want the reflectum. We want to look and remember the Washington Monument and what it represents. We want to walk along the reflecting pool and reflect upon 4 July 1776, the birth of this great nation. We want to reflect upon our lives and ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. John Fitzgerald Kennedy. We want to reflect upon the blessings and the liberties that God gave us and gave.
Colin, I've had that with the Buffalo Bills. That them not winning the Super Bowl. They've made it there several times, but they haven't won them. They had second place.
Give us another chance with Donald John Trump. So Kamala Harris, that Hindu Horus, couldn't come in this country and turn it into Stalingrad. It's a reflecting pool, you fascist fucking idiots. We are so sick of you. And you know what? Even the Democrats are like, okay, this is getting out.
And Buffalo Bills are one of the original teams
of hand
in the NFL.
So what they're doing is like pretending
in the
it
AFC.
didn't happen. The gaslighting, dude, we're seeing it in real time. Oh, President Trump's just whining about people going to jail. They're not going to jail. Nobody's going to jail. Nobody's doing anything to the pool. It was going to happen anyway. Oh, but by the way, a duck happened to die in there. Yeah, because y'all been pouring chemicals in there. What did you think was going to happen? You did it. You did it. You murdered the duck. It ain't got nothing to do with Trump. He cleaned up the pool. Do you realize how sick we are of you? You're showing what you are. It doesn't matter that these dumb communists started, stealing elections in these small districts in New York. That shit don't resonate across the country. You can't go to Wyoming and do a communist Marxist sweep in Wyoming. The reflecting pool stays. You're going to stay away from it or you're going to go to fucking jail. And you're going to stay there and you can reflect upon your bad decisions. How about that?
Amen. Amen. She's spot on all the time. Okay, there's a number of rape and cases in Liverpool and that in England, and people are upset about it.
Andy Burnham is part of the grooming gang's cover-up. Now he's called an election in Makerfield because he quite fancies being Prime Minister. But even right here in the Makerfield constituency, white working-class girls were trafficked and raped by these monstrous gangs. Yet Burnham called them propaganda.
There's been over-politicisation of this issue. The levels of propaganda.
And campaigners for justice were creating hate.
It's actually designed to create hate.
He served in the Home Office under Blair's government when reports of abuse poured in. In 2003, survivor Amy, forced into sex acts with multiple men aged 13, reported her ordeal to South Yorkshire Police. The blood and DNA evidence she provided inexplicably disappeared.
Oh,
her family wrote to the Home Office, but heard nothing back.
I ought to look it up
Burnham
and
was
see
a
what
minister
time.
at the Home Office when
I
they
don't
shut
pay
down
attention till it gets
Operation
close.
Augusta. This was set up after the horrific death of 15-year-old Victoria Golia, injected with heroin by a 50-year-old man. Instead of pursuing justice for Victoria, the police blamed her for propensity for providing sexual favors. The perpetrator was never charged with causing her death. Even as the scale of the horror in Manchester became apparent, Burnham as mayor resisted a proper national inquiry for years. And even the local limited review he finally commissioned became a farce when the two men leading it resigned because they'd been blocked from accessing crucial information. Maggie Oliver, the brave whistleblower, said, when it comes to leadership and courage and gripping what is going on now, unfortunately, he turned away. Not a single council worker or police officer in Greater Manchester has faced criminal proceedings as a result of their betrayal. Now this shameless man seeks to use the very communities he betrayed to catapult himself to higher office. The question is, are you going to let him?
Oh, as long as they can keep bringing in illegals and they'll vote for them, they don't care. That's all they care about, to be honest. Boston principal was forced or made a teacher apologize. I think they got fired. I can't remember. The Boston principal apologized for teaching the Holocaust because there was a lot of Muslim students or something. What the hell's the Muslim
As if
students
tonight isn't enough of a shit show. Take a listen to what I just happened upon. It's all starting to unravel. A Boston principal just apologized for teaching the Holocaust. Yep. William Diamond Middle School in Lexington, Massachusetts taught a lesson about the Holocaust. Afterwards, the principal sent an email, not to Jewish families, not to Holocaust survivors' grandchildren, but to Arab and Muslim students to apologize. He said some students felt unseen, that their identities weren't adequately reflected, that they left feeling less safe. Less safe from a Holocaust lesson. Safe from what exactly? From history, from facts, from 6 million dead Jews? This is infuriating and heartbreaking at the same time. The Holocaust is not a both sides conversation. It is the most documented genocide in human history, and a school principal treated it as offensive content that required an apology. In that email,
all right, so it's tomorrow
not one
night.
Word of comfort to the Jewish kids in
So
the
it's gonna
classroom.
be late here.
Not one acknowledgement that maybe
Thanks for looking it
they
up.
were the ones
Hey,
who
Marianne.
deserved to feel held. That maybe
Hey,
their
Marianne.
identity and history were being discussed. That maybe this lesson existed specifically to protect future generations from ever having to live through that again. This is what the erasure of Jewish pain looks like in 2026. Sometimes it comes in a carefully worded email from a wimpy, woke, politically correct school administrator who is more afraid of upsetting one group of students than of letting another group's genocide be forgotten. Never again means nothing if we can't even teach about it. If this made your blood boil, share it now. Speak up, speak out.
This person's asking about how they feel about Andy Burnham. I don't know how to say his name. Burnham.
Yay, queer Stalin resigned. The new guy will be better. I hate to break it to you, but Labour is still in control. Don't celebrate too soon. Let me explain this to you, and for my Americans, they basically just let the VP take over. So who is this new Prime Minister of Great Britain and Northern Ireland? Andy Burnham. He's been the mayor of Greater Manchester since 2017. Fun fact, Muslims make up 18% of Greater Manchester's population. That's 500,000. Andy Pandy's public positions include opposition to Islamophobia and support for religious diversity. So not like potholes or education or fixing homelessness. He believes Muslim communities are an important and valued aspect of our society. Guys, it's still Shabana Mahmood's party. It's still the party involved in the cover-up of the grooming gangs, otherwise known as the Great for gangs. But let's not be all doom and gloom here. What does Andy intend on doing as Prime Minister?
The first foreign visit I would do as leader of the Labour Party would be to Israel.
How do you feel about Britain's new overlord? Let me know. Okay, thanks, bye.
Hey, John, I was asking about you. I just want to make sure you're okay. I didn't see you on social media anywhere. Just want to make sure you're okay, John. Is everything okay? All right, here's if when Stammer resigned, they did a, one of those AI skits if he was like Hitler. I'll show you. It's kind of funny.
Es ist dem Feind gelungen, die Front in breiter Formation zu durchbrechen. Im Süden hat der Gegner Zossen genommen und stößt auf Stahnsdorf vor. Der Feind operiert jetzt am nördlichen Stadtrand zwischen Frohnau und Frankfurt. Und im Osten ist der Feind bis zur Linie Lichtenberg, Marsdorf, Karlshorst gelangt.
Mit dem Angriff Steiners wird das alles in Ordnung kommen.
It might not play well for those who are just listening.
Mein Führer, Steiner konnte nicht genügend Kräfte für einen Angriff massieren.
Oh, maybe because some of you are listening, I'll play something different. I don't know. Let me grab something else here. Let's see. That's a congressional candidate. I was going to play. All right, we'll go here.
Germany may have found a new way to deal with bad headlines. We're talking about Germany because when they do something, often the other globalists follow suit. How are they doing this? Well, not by silencing the opposition, but by manipulating algorithms in their favor. Sounds familiar. Based on a leaked document obtained by local press, Germany's state media regulators are developing a plan that could force social media platforms to boost so-called reliable news outlets in users' feeds. That means platforms like X, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok could be legally required to make government-approved media more visible. No more inconvenient truth tellers. The proposal would create a public value label for approved.
That means government controls social media. The narrative, they control the whole narrative.
Approved outlets, and even floats the idea of a legal quota for how much of this approved content should appear in social media feeds. And here's the best part. That means the government doesn't have to ban the story. It can just make sure the right version of the story gets pushed first.
You really have to appreciate how insidious this new strategy is. They couldn't ban X for Germans, but now they are actively trying to infiltrate the algorithm of X because they believe that probably Elon Musk is doing something extremely biased in his own favor to only push right-wing accounts, which obviously is not the case. So what they want to do is they want
more people are reporting what's important in the news there.
To push their government media on our pages in Germany. And we already pay taxes for the legacy media.
Okay, so when I look at some of the public reporting on this, Naomi, they frame it as, of course, this is for the betterment of society. This is for the betterment of the German people. This is the betterment of all. One of the lines that they use is this is about protecting minors and combating harmful content, building on, some of the there's some, I guess, EU policies that are in place that try to protect youth from so-called disinformation. But that's the spin that they're giving. Are the people buying that spin?
No. The people want to use social media freely and they want to be able to access independent media. We already have so many problems with independent media outlets barely being visible in the public in Germany because, like I said, the legacy media in Germany are tax funded or NGO funded, which are funded by Soros, by Bill Gates even. And therefore, we don't have the opportunity to reach out to any independent information. And this has been a massive problem in Germany for many years. And then we got X. And finally, this was the first time that Germans actually had a chance at finding information.
Marianne, I played a clip earlier where in one of the towns, the Muslims have won all the elections. They've won all the elections. And now they banned gay pride, gay flag, everything gay. And now the left's all upset, but they're the ones that helped vote them in. and got him. They were helping him get into the country.
That goes against the mainstream narrative. They put me under intelligence surveillance a few years ago when I started speaking out and when I connected with the international sphere, with Americans, with the MAGA movement, because they were so terrified of Germans looking beyond the mainstream media and actually connecting with international English-speaking people, because Americans find it crazy what's going on in Germany. But Germans are like frogs in the boiling water. They don't even realize anymore that even George Orwell couldn't plan what the German government is doing.
Naomi, remind our viewers what it was that the German government found so offensive about what you were saying.
Back in 2020, I was the very first, especially young woman, I was just 19 years old, who criticized the climate change agenda. This was when Fridays for Future, Greta Thunberg was massive. And I said, hold on, that's actually not scientifically valid. I've been a science nerd all my life, basically. So I exposed the fraudulent fake science that was behind the whole climate change agenda, and the IPCC was just putting out nonsense that didn't add up physically, mathematically. I exposed that as a 19-year-old, and they were terrified of me because they hate intelligent people that oppose the mainstream narrative. This is why public education is huge in Germany. You only matter, you're only important in Germany if you stay in the university system until you're like 30 years old, because that's how they can indoctrinate you. They give you these fake credentials.
I think that what this story illustrates is it's not just a Germany problem. Because Naomi, when I read this story, it was not shocking, but there were so many familiar strains to it. We experienced some of this under the Biden administration when there was collusion between social media and the government to try and mess with the algorithm that went out to the public and essentially accomplished behind the scenes what the German government seemed to want to be doing in the open. So it seems like
they have these foam bot farms where they got all these phones hooked up at once, and one person from a laptop can control them all. So it acts like thousands of people when it's only one.
Right now, moving increasingly toward a space where they're going to be more blatant about how they do this, and younger people are probably going to grow more immune and less shocked that the government is going to censor these kinds of stories. I hope that's not the case, but I feel like
they're also changing the narrative.
That's where we're going.
So true. All right, here's Barack Obama seems to have diverted $400 million of that money that was going to his library, the Obama Library.
Really brilliant plan that was orchestrated by Barack Obama with the help of Renzi, the former prime minister of Italy. Barack Obama in 2017, just as he was leaving, he took some of the money that was slated for Iran and picked up by Italy to transport to Iran through the UAE. Actually took $400 million. It was 14 pallets of cash of your hard-earned money, and that money was transferred over to different accounts. And that was the plan to help unravel the funding to unravel the Trump presidency. Basically, the theft of the election was orchestrated in the Rome embassy on the second floor of Via Veneto by an employee, Stefan Serafini, Foreign Service officer of over 20 years. He retired the day before the election to ensure he would not lose his pension, unlike what happened to some of the FBI agents who betrayed our country in 2016 and did lose their pension just days before their retirement. So Stefan Serafini coordinated with a General Claudio Graziano. And Claudio Graziano, General Graziano, is on the board of Leonardo, the defense contractor, Leonardo SPA.
Probably because of the McDonald's, they have better food at their McDonald's than ours.
Leonardo used their
I don't think they use seed oil in their bread. That's the biggest thing.
Military satellite uplink to load the software and transfer it over to change the votes from Trump to Biden. So what everybody's been saying is that we know something happened, The proof that was missing, the very basic who did it, where did they do it, and how did they do it, has been missing from all of the documents sent into the courts, all of the affidavits. There was nothing that was helping us win in the courts. Barack Obama in 2017, just as he was leaving, he took some of the money that was slated for Iran and picked up by Italy to transport to Iran through the UAE. Actually took $400 million. It was 14 pallets of cash of your hard-earned money, and that was the plan to help unravel the funding to unravel the Trump presidency.
I miss that. Wow.
Those funds, we now know and have proof of where they went and how they got there. I can tell you the exact travel plan of the cash. We know it was Barack Obama. Barack Obama conspired with Renzi in the White House.
Brazil's one of those teams that could probably win the whole thing.
The last state dinner that the president had was with Renzi, the prime minister of Italy, and Obama's campaign manager returned to Italy to orchestrate the effort with Renzi. The acting Prime Minister Conte is very engaged and involved. This information cannot be released yet in the States. We are waiting for Italy to do their work. We released some information early, and the fear on that side has escalated drastically, and the threat level. I do not have all my people here yet safe, and so we're trying to get everyone back safe. We're trying to get the articles done, and we are working hard at giving that proof to the president and to Rudy and to Mark Meadows.
I kind of doubt there'll be any rest because it takes years for all this to go through. Here's a little more humor on the Obama and Michelle at the algae in the pool. Can't find the one that just played though.
This one is for Team Algae, Michael.
I can't find it. Dang it.
Hell yeah! Algae time!
Actually, that makes him look better, actually, when he's younger, probably. It has been sabotaged several times. What they're doing is they're putting fertilizer and it turns to algae in these pools.
How dare
Colin will know this one.
you embarrass me like that? How dare you say those things about me? You have no...
That's a liberal right there in Britain Parliament. And this black lady's actually the conservative leader.
No right to do it! Jamie, Bridgenet is working class. She's working class and you're not allowed...
And I believe that she's from the Green Party.
...to speak about her.
Spite.
Colin could correct me
You're
if I'm
nothing
wrong.
but a spiteful witch talking absolute bullshit. Bridget, if you think I'm going to stop exposing what you've done to our schools, then you've got another thing coming. Get off your high horse and stop acting like a Gestapo.
Anyone for pie?
Little humor.
Spiteful
Sorry.
class warriors.
Muslim values are Canadian values. That's a direct quote from Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. So apparently Canada is now a Muslim developing country that also supports the great communist nation of China. Let's just forget that Canada at one time had a majority Christian population. Canada is like a 12-year-old girl who does and says the opposite of all well-intended advice. They look at the successes of the United States and decide they want the opposite. So is Canada even a real nation? It was founded as the Dominion of Canada on July 1st, 1867. So for obvious reasons, many argue that it is. But At this point, it sure doesn't act like one.
Yeah.
The Muslim population more than doubled in 20 years from 2% in
And the thing is, John, about them getting rich, is they have to pay someone off that help them get into power. So they're kicking back a lot of their money, and this and that. So we got to catch up on Chad.
2001 to almost 5% in 2021. During that same time period, Christians dropped from 77% to just 53%.
Oh, yeah.
Canada
tonight.
now brings in over 470,000
late games
permanent
there,
residents per year,
Jeremy.
many from Muslim-majority countries. And that's the real Canadian complex. They hate on and act superior to Americans, the most successful nation.
See, Colin, Canada's in the same position as England is. They're right along at about the same time, along that chronological thing where you have to collapse totally before you can fix it.
Next door, while simultaneously flooding their country with immigrants from every third world nation, importing values that share no similarity with Canada's old Christian foundations. Canada still has the formal structure of a nation,
they got really some super players,
but a confident country
kids,
with a clear identity and the will to protect its founding principles. That Canada is long gone.
Yep, John. Yep. I got time enough for a couple more. Let me do a couple more here.
Allah is not shy of the truth. We don't say that Islam is here to live, to coexist with lots of different religions and all of us can just hold hands and be friends. This religion was sent to dominate.
They're here to take us over. I'll rewind that just slightly. They're here to take us over.
Religions and all of us can just hold hands and be friends. This religion was sent to dominate the world. It was sent to be superior, to extinguish the light of every other religion and to be superior to it. But we're not shy to say it, and we don't find that to be something that we should be shy to say, that this religion has been sent to dominate.
So it makes sense to keep importing more and putting them on our tax dollars and paying them to bring even more in. It makes lots of sense. Unless you're trying to get rid of Christianity, then that works really well for that.
To wipe out, to take out every other religion, to eclipse it, to be superior to it, to have the people leave every religion and to accept Islam. And if that requires fighting to achieve it, then it requires fighting to achieve it. Because the greatest purpose for which jihad was legislated is to make the word of Allah the highest and the word of those who disbelieve the lowest.
And they'll even kill their own. All right, I'm going to end with this one. It's United Spots did, if you're suffering from TDS. I have TDS. I have TDS. I have TDS. I have TDS. Crying out over Mega Man. He said no more, now he's bombing Iran. This racist dictator's doing real bad. Oh, there they. And me and Democrats have had enough now. I have TDS. Trump is a felon, place him under arrest. I have TDS. I have TDS. The man on TV says Orange Man bad. I yell fuck Trump cause he makes me mad. Do you hate Trump? Raise your hand. Trump is a felon and Michelle is a man. I have TDS. Obama pays me to say Trump's a racist. I have TDS. I have TDS. Fuck Trump. Yep. All right, everybody. I should be on tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, take care. God bless. I think I might have a guest on Friday. We'll see. Same time. All right. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.